What was a character's last words that just broke you? Our artificer triple crossed us. He left the party to study under the big bad evil guy, but was secretly feeding information back to us the whole time. Unfortunately, the big bad, being capable of both telepathy and seeing the future, caught on pretty quickly. We were fighting the big bad evil guy, and our artificer, after the artificer failed his mission to assassinate a king who was traveling with our party, when the big bad evil guy cast Detect Thoughts on the artificer and asked him, "Who in the party do you care most about?" His spells had a save DC of like 24, so of course the artificer failed. The big bad immediately turned and cast Disintegrate on our warlock, the artificer's sister and the youngest member of the party. She didn't even have time for last words. We all just listened to her player's description of the shock and fear on her character's face as her body dissolved into mist, silently pleading with her big brother to save her. "Oh, just piss off already. Are you actually going to kill me this time, father? Or must I endure another century of..." That was all that Mahina, revolutionary pariah son of Strahd von Zarovic, managed to say before he was staked through the heart and paralyzed. Not killed, but imprisoned, where he would be later whisked away by the mother he never knew, only to be sacrificed for a dark power's return. For context, Mahina was over 100 years old and had already led one failed rebellion against his father in his 20s. He watched everyone who supported him get massacred, becoming the sole survivor of his revolution, left alive to live in exile and humiliation. He got through those years off nothing but spite and hate to bury his grief, but he was slowly healing thanks to making new friends in the party. Just before he was staked, he realized his companions had all agreed to make peace with Strahd in favor of fighting a greater evil. He knew it was the best choice, but it wasn't one he could make. So, after a century of scraping and clawing to survive in the hopes of fighting another day, he just surrendered. He was tired. He was broken. He didn't have it in him to keep fighting without his friends. He couldn't even bring himself to care about Strahd's gloating monologue. Hence, the above quote. This was a 7th Sea campaign, not something we see a lot, but we want more stories of. I was playing a fey bloodied medic type who had a crush on one of the other characters for years. It was never creepy, and he never even made a move because he knew he wasn't her type. He just really wanted her to be happy. It was kind of a joke because everyone knew, but we never took it beyond a respectful, lovesick puppy vibe. After a while, we ended up finding this Eldritch machine that was apparently running down, and thousands of people would die if it stopped, the party included. Trying to fix it, my character got stuck in it, and it started working properly again, using him as a power source. His longevity meant he'd be able to keep it running for centuries, but he'd be stuck in it, aware, the entire time. I got one set of last words, so I had him look at his crush and say, "It's okay. If I need strength, I'll just remember your courage and your smile." Half the group was in tears. I was so proud. I played a set of twins with another player. His character had a son named Trevor, after his real-life newborn son. In session 100, baby, the party was ambushed by a band of tough mercenaries working for the big bad evil guy. We fought valiantly, but the numbers game was just too much, and he fell. Eventually, we turned the tide with some very lucky rolls and won. But we were fully tapped out and couldn't save him. As he was dying in my arms, he said, "When you get back home, tell Trevor that he loves him and that I'm sorry. I won't be there for him anymore." The whole table broke down sobbing. A long fight against some revenants. It was my heavily damaged wizard necromancer's turn. He had turned evil a few sessions ago. I had the chance to either misty step out of the room and ditch the party, or cast a heavy-hitting spell at the enemies, knowing full well I'd be downed and killed on the next turn. In a last act of goodness, he attacked the revenants, looked at our paladin and said, "You better revive me!" We did have the diamonds for only one revivify. Either way, the bard also died and they decided to revive her instead. I was kind of bummed, but it was a nice ending before he completely lost his sanity. We were playing a short campaign exploring an epic character's origins and early life, with a few time skips. A few sessions took us through ages 12 to 21. I was playing a supporting character, his childhood best friend. Early in the game, I had a moment where my character was doing something a little bit stupid, as kids do. When the main character asked why, I simply responded, "I do what I want." It was a funny retort in the moment. Now, in this universe, everything is pretty grimdark. Good times are always followed by tragedy. My character slowly became indoctrinated by the big bads in control of our region. A fanatical, zealous military superpower with no axe, too deprived for the advancement of their goals. I played my part, becoming slowly but surely more antagonistic, losing self-determination, and acting more and more in line with their dogma. Chemicals, brainwashing, and torture were used to increase my cooperation. In the final scene, the main character was trying to prevent me from following orders that would end my life. I gave him the chance to leave and be safe while I headed towards certain death, muttering relentlessly, "I do what I want. I do what I want." I played an Among Us one-shot, yeah, silly, I know, as a character named Michael, who was just this big dumb fella. All his stats were in strength and charisma. He was classed as a rogue, but his idea of stealth was yelling, "You can't see me!" He was very sweet and just stupid. He'd been arrested for stealing the Declaration of the First War. He honestly thought it was a museum pamphlet, and because he was undocumented, born an orphan, he was immediately sentenced to life. These countries were at war again, so stakes were high. Once sentenced, he was given the option to go on a space mission to find a new world that people could live on. The first day on the crew, he met Arlo and Kyrian, who didn't particularly like him. To be fair, no one liked anyone. Skipping forward a bit, he suspected a crewmate of murdering people on the ship and voted to isolate them rather than outright kill them to prove their innocence or guilt. While a techie crewmate, Edwin, was fixing up a room to monitor the imposter, Michael went to fix some wires in the airlock. Being the big dumb guy he was, he messed up and the wires burned out. Just as he turned to leave, the airlock opened, and the door out of the airlock was locked. Sabotaged. Realizing he only had seconds to live, he calmed the crew over the radio and started rambling. Hey guys! I think I'm gonna die. The door is locked, and I messed up, and I'm gonna die. Do you think you can hear anything through the door? I can try. He hears movement from behind the door. Hey. Hi. Hey, buddy. How are you doing? I don't know. I really don't know. I was trying to fix it because last time something wasn't fixed in time. Pluto died. And I didn't want anyone to die. And I messed up. And I don't know what to do. Michael now sits back against the door, gripping onto anything around him he can. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I'm here. I just grabbed a pamphlet, that's all. I don't know what's going on, and I'm gonna die. And I'm not gonna see any plants. And the last thing I see isn't gonna be plants, it's just gonna be space. Pamphlet? Okay. I don't want anyone else to die. I want to be the last person to die. I don't want you to be the last person to die. The airlock doors shoot open, and that's the last thing he hears. someone doesn't want him to die. Mine was my character's death, and I even made most of the party choke up. She was my first ever character, a Bardlock named Ma May, who suffered from severe memory issues. It's important to note that I was pregnant and dealing with PPD most of the time I played her, so I was super hormonal and attached to her. About 3/4 of the way through my pregnancy, I made a PowerPoint asking to have a baby in our campaign and let Ma May become a mom. Our DM was awesome and did just that. He created a baby minotaur named Izzy who joined our party. My husband and I's characters, a 7-foot Goliath and a 5-foot half-elf whose dad was a gnome, became parents to the baby minotaur. We literally RP'd us training her to be part of the group, and Ma May taught her how to use a dagger. We were going to fight a dragon, so we left our baby with an NPC because that's the responsible thing to do as parents. Bad saves after bad rolls, Ma May was knocked down into death saves right after one of the other guys got eaten by the dragon. I had 2 failures and 2 successes. In the 2 years of our campaign, this was the most suspenseful death save. I was on the verge of tears when I rolled my last death save and sobbed when I rolled a nat 1. I had to walk away to catch my breath before coming back to do her final words. The party tried to save me, but my husband's character ran to Ma May first, and her last words to him were, "Take care of my baby." Our fighter who sat next to me got a little choked up and wiped his eyes. But if you ask him about it, he'll tell you to kick rocks. Our druid, who isn't very emotional, said, "I can save her!" and tried to use Revivify, but our DM and I didn't allow it. She got choked up too and shed a tear. Now I play Ma May's high elf mom, who just learned about her daughter's death and that she has a minotaur grandchild. In a 3-year campaign as an undead bard, I decided to distract the army of the big bad by locking the door to the room my friends were in and running down the hallway playing my lute as loud as I could. That's awesome! The party watched helplessly from a window as I got surrounded in the courtyard and beaten to a pulp. "This seems to be the end for me," I said, barely alive, as the party watched the boss punch through my chest, ripping my spinal cord out. My head rolled to the ground, laughing. "Looks like you've played the last chord," I said, smiling as I looked up at the window, revealing the gnome's grenades I had taken and wired to my spine. Kaboom! This was my farewell to my group as I moved away shortly afterward. I hope you stayed in touch with them, though. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, wipe your eyes, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below. What was a character's last words that just broke you? We love you all, and if you want to ever help out on the channel, join our membership. It helps put food on the table for us, and you get some early access to vids as well as some other goodies down the road. See you next time. Toodaloo.